All right, it has been ages in coming, but we are finally hosting our patron saint of the Learning Geeks podcast, Ms. Allison Horn, on this episode of the Learning Geeks podcast, which starts right now. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Allison.
Hello.
Allison's here. Yay!
A familiar voice that we haven't heard for a while.
Very happy to be back. Great to
One
be
of the
with you
most
guys.
important people in the entire realm of talent and talent development, and we knew you when.
Wow. Well, that's a really nice thing to say, Bob.
We still know you
that.
now.
I like that. Blah, blah, blah. That was really
Yeah,
good.
that
was
was
good.
great.
That was
Makes
good.
her feel really important, Bob. Thank
Yeah.
That's a Friday afternoon for you folks.
Friday afternoon,
Before a
and this
holiday.
is our first episode that we're recording for season 8. So,
Wow.
Season 8 of the Learning Geeks.
yeah.
You guys remind me, does the season equal a year? So is this year number
Yeah.
8? That's incredible.
Isn't that incredible? It's been
Yeah.
That is
a
incredible.
long time. It's been a long time.
Congratulations.
And I do love telling the story of how, people are like, well, how did you start with the Learning Geeks? So I was like, well, we kind of been talking about it. And then I heard how easy it was to use Zencaster to make a podcast. And I was like, Jake, Dana, let's try this.
See,
What?
I remember a slightly different
Do
origin
you?
story, Bob. I do. I
What is it?
remember a story, and Dana, I know for sure you were involved in this, right? Where we were talking about how podcasting is a really great vehicle for learning, and why do we not have a podcast on learning? And one of the reasons was because we didn't really know how to do it, or didn't
Yeah.
actually understand how to go from this would be a good idea. And Bob, I remember then you saying, "I'm going to go figure it out because the best way to learn how to do it would be to actually just do it." That's what I remember as the origin story.
Hey, same story, different lens.
I was going to say, that's just a different origin story, just like comic
There
books.
you go.
It's version 2.
There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
right. That's right. We'll retcon it to make me sound better.
Well, and
I like that.
part of what I remember is there were several of us sitting around a table in Chicago doing some design work. And I think we'd already had the discussion with you, Allison. We were with another one of our sponsors, and they said, "Hey, I love the way you guys think. You should make a podcast or something." And we're going like, "Yeah, okay. Now we really have to do it because everybody's telling us." to do
Perfect.
that."
Yeah.
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 But it is easy. And if anybody needs to find out how easy it is, they can reach out to us. Or Jake, they can actually vote for our presentation at S by SW, right?
No, it already closed. So,
Oh, dang.
even right now, as we're recording this, it already closed. Yeah.
I just had this brainstorm for making that hook, and it's too
I
late.
know. I failed to re-promote it, and yeah. So
Did we fail then?
I haven't got anything yet, so
Oh,
we'll
okay.
see. I mean, there
Okay,
were
so fingers crossed.
1,400 proposals for South by Southwest EDU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
we'll
we'll see
see.
what happens. Anyway, you could reach out to us. But hey, enough about us in the Learning Geeks podcast. Let's move on to Allison. As we were just mentioning earlier, all four of us used to work together at Accenture. I was the first one out, and now I am the last one standing because Allison, just as of a couple of weeks ago, is no longer a managing director at Accenture, and she is somewhere else. Would you like to tell us whatever you can tell us about your new festivities, Allison?
I would be happy to. So yeah, after 26 years of an incredible journey at Accenture with just phenomenal people, you three included, I took the plunge to go and work with one of our clients. So to work with JPMC, JP Morgan Chase, and am in JPMC as the head of talent transformation. So I joined there about 3 weeks ago now. And I am in, this amazing learning period at this point, learning the business, learning people, learning the challenges, all of that. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Are you kind of meta cognitizing? That's totally not a word. I just made it up, but maybe we like it. Are you reflecting on your learning process of learning all of this stuff and how it helps you, what you're learning about yourself as a learner?
Hold on, let's go back to the word that you just made up.
Metacognitizing.
Metacognitizing. Okay, so we've made metacognition a verb. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, well, let me
Are you
take that in a
thinking about it,
slightly.
Allison? That's what we're like. Are you
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about it?
exactly, exactly. So I'm learning about how to transition nouns to verbs. Got it. I think they might,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, Let me take a slightly different approach on that, which is to
Yeah.
say, I think no matter what job I've ever had, right? And just like many of you, right? Lots of tenure at a single company, but you're also changing jobs lots of times, like within a specific company. So, uh, every time you start a new job, every time you start a new project, right? There's always that learning period, or there should be a learning period where you actually go in and really try to understand what's happening and where it's happening. So, I would say no matter who you are, where you are, that first phase of starting a new job should absolutely be about learning. And some of it is, we'll go even a little bit more abstract here, is learning all the things that you actually need to learn that you maybe didn't know that you needed to learn.
Right.
It's that old adage of you don't actually know the things you don't know yet. So yeah, I mean, it's a fun time to be putting all those pieces together.
Yeah.
So
That's
are you
amazing.
able to share a little bit more what talent transformation and what does that look like? Or do you not know yet because you're still learning all of the different things?
All of the, I can share what I know, but I will tell you that in my very brief time at JP Morgan Chase, I have already learned that this is a company that is moving forward and moving fast. And it is a company that is very much, has their own continuous learning, like really at the core of what they're doing. And
Hmm.
I say that as the foundation to say, the things that we think the head of talent transformation will do today as of recording date of August 2025 will likely be different come 6 months from now, 12 months from now. But right now this is largely about how do we, in partnership with this amazing team and with amazing business sponsors, how do we really build the systems and the structures that are needed for JP Morgan Chase to continue to change the way work is done and be able to move people from today's jobs to tomorrow's jobs, through everything that, quite frankly, you guys all talk about on the Learning Geeks podcast every single episode. So yeah, that's the head of it. I mean, more specifically, I'll be diving into early careers. I'll be diving into what's happening with some exciting things on the performance side. And, as you guys can imagine, I can't not be involved in the job architecture, skills architecture part of the world, right? That's just I'm like a
Who you
moth to a
are.
flame
Yeah.
with that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of that too.
Okay, so here's the big question, Allison. Are you
Mhm.
having fun?
So far, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because,
Then it's a good job.
but you know what? I am having fun so far, but I don't think I gave enough credit to how truly tiring it is to step into a new
Oh,
context where
uh-huh.
Yeah.
you just don't yet have those cognitive shortcuts for anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the things that like over the course of many years that you start to take for granted because you have made those cognitive shortcuts, right? Don't exist. Everything from super tactical stuff like, well, when you enter this building, you have to put your badge in,
Right.
horizontal
Yeah. Yeah.
versus vertical, to like, where are the restrooms, to, how do I? And of course, you're meeting a ton of people and trying to remember who's who and how they relate to each other. So, it's just like when you ask a 16-year-old about driving a car and they're like, it's tiring because they're still building those pathways.
Yeah.
I'm building a whole lot of new pathways.
Yeah. And a
But it's
lot of
also
new network too. A lot of different
Yes,
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
totally.
And
Yes.
it's also like we talk about in onboarding, like you've got to ascend Maslow's hierarchy, right? Like in the onboarding, we want people to grab hold of the company's mission and
Yes.
purpose and feel, excited about that. But it's really hard for them to think about when they're like, who am I going to eat lunch with today? What should I be wearing? How do I sign up for my benefits? So
Yeah.
once we have people like understanding we've got the answers to those questions, like
Right.
here's where you find them, then we can make that pivot and start talking about that cooler stuff.
Correct.
And then
Correct.
there's the acronyms. I'm
Oh
sure
my
there's a
goodness.
whole new dictionary of
There,
acronyms.
there is, but sort of like you will remember, from your collective days at Accenture, like
Hmm.
we have an acronym dictionary there. Like there's a link, here's the acronym finder, and so forth. So,
We do.
JPMC also has what they call the LLM suite, which is, an internal, basically like, Chat GPT, but fully secure, all of
Mm.
that,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
also very good at giving me the quick hits on that. So,
Yeah.
but yes,
That's great.
acronyms are. Acronyms are real. They're no joke in terms of like committing them to memory.
Well, one quick shout out before we kind of pivot into the program proper is one of the things I'm really jealous about you working there is you're working with one of our favorite people who
I
we haven't
am.
worked with for a couple of years, and now you two are reunited. So big shout out to Deirdre Busby,
Yay,
big friend of
Deidre.
ours. Deirdre, we love you and hope that you can manage Allison better than we did.
I am super lucky to be working with her. She's part of a really exciting team, and yeah, you guys should have her back. You guys should have her back on the podcast soon.
I don't know that
Yes,
we've
we
ever had
should.
Deirdre. Have we had Deirdre
Yeah.
on?
We had talked about it when she made her last transition, but I don't think we have.
I
Okay,
don't
let's
think
do
we ever
it.
So,
did either.
Deidre, expect an email from me.
Yep.
We'll be reaching out.
Yep, season 8 guest list, Deidre Busby. Look forward to it. Okay,
Added.
so Allison, we were kind of in our group chat that we do every Friday morning that we're recording, where we're like, what are we going to talk about again? And what I suggested to Jake, actually, Dana, I think we were letting you hang out with Chloe, your granddaughter, while this was going on, is I suggested that Allison, since you are the patron saint of the Learning Geeks and you haven't been on for a while, that we should just talk about whatever you want to talk about. So
Oh,
we're
fun.
kind of handing the reins over to you. We'll
Okay.
let you MC and see where this goes.
All right. Okay. Well, hey, it is Friday, August 29th, as we are recording this.
We are.
So I would be remiss if we didn't take a step back and at least acknowledge the major world event that happened earlier this week with the Taylor Travis engagement. I mean, that was a super big deal, right? So we all have to
Huge.
acknowledge that.
Who and who?
Um,
Yeah.
oh, Dana,
I'm
Dana.
retired, remember, Allison?
I mean, this is a massive, massive event, a massive moment. So the Swiftiverse is just, excited, ready to go. Um, I will tell you, this came all the way back to my work world, including, with some of my Accenture friends who, within an hour of the engagement, sent me a picture of all of the, cappuccino machines in the office that were now printing one of the engagement
Yeah.
pictures of
With the printed
Taylor and
foam.
Travis together. Yeah, yeah, it was
I
amazing with the
love it.
printed foam. So,
Oh my
yep, yep,
goodness.
yep.
Yeah, we were
I,
in the
I
jungle of Costa Rica when that happened. So like on the plane ride home, I said to Sherry,
Sure.
like, oh, did you hear those two got engaged?
Yeah, yeah. So
So,
yeah,
let's
my
connect
daughter.
this to learning for a second, though, right?
okay, let's do it.
I'm sure you guys have heard about all of the different college classes and such that have sprung up over the years that are, studying her rise, studying, whether
Hmm.
they're business classes, whether they're English classes, diving deep into her lyrics and so forth. I think there's something really interesting there to look at in terms of, where Taylor has really even like influenced and infiltrated education. And you three are now looking at me like, yeah, right, Allison.
I've
No, no,
I,
no, no. I'm
I've
just trying
I've
to
heard
make
of
the
those courses. I've
connections.
just never taken one. So
I mean, if I have a superpower around learning, it's like
Yeah.
looking at something completely unrelated to learning and
Uh-huh.
thinking, how can I leverage that into something that we can
Hmm.
use? And so I'm just trying that on for size.
There you go. Well, worth a Google search to see all of the colleges that are offering, let's just call them Taylor themed classes in some way, shape, or form. So
Yeah.
yeah,
that's
what's the
one
next
thing.
thing?
What's the next thing?
So I guess the next thing that I would probably look at in August of 2025 is I think we would be remiss if we didn't like look back a week or two and like look at the implications of GPT-5 coming our way and all of the new models that are out there and bring that back to like what are the favorite tools that our little group here is using day in and day out to make work faster, better, more fun, more interesting. And maybe it doesn't even have to be limited to just work, but I mean, quite frankly, when you think of the opportunity that is there to just completely turn all the things we've ever done in the L&D space upside on its head with some of these new tools and capabilities, that should give us some fun things to chat about too.
Yeah.
Bob,
Well,
you
I
had
do
an
have an answer.
interesting one,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I'm not sure if it's the one you're thinking. What were you going to say,
Well,
Jay?
no, you had an interest. I thought you said you had something that was
Oh, I do. I
a
do.
little.
I do.
Okay,
Is my hot take
there you go.
on this is, and this is one of the good things about being an independent podcast with no sponsors, is we don't have to worry about getting in trouble with anybody with this.
Except we keep hoping Disney will decide to
But
sponsor us.
someday.
Yeah.
But like I don't see where in the future we will need any of these tools with AI built in. Like, to me, it just feels like a middleman trying to profit off of not really adding much value, because the tool that I'm using most for AI right now is ChatGPT for outside of work for my life. And inside work, I'm using Copilot. Because again, like you guys, we have Copilot, Microsoft Copilot set up where it's, in its own security box and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I'll give you two examples of that where previously I might have been like, oh, I would like to find an AI driven tool to help me with that. But instead, just in the last couple of weeks, I just built something on my own really, really quickly to build my own agents. So work-wise, in Copilot, it's performance achievement time. Allison, by the way, kudos on getting out just in time before you had to go through.
It's not the first time I've thought about that, Bob.
That joyous process at the end of the fiscal year. But you know what? It's like, I didn't have a lot of time. I was really busy. We'd had this vacation planned for a lot of months. And I was like, I know I'm going to have to spend some time while I'm on my break working on giving people feedback.
Right.
We do have like some tools that got built into our system and all of that, which are pretty handy, but I never really found them satisfying. So what I did was I built my own agent in Copilot to help with it. And what I did was I said, not specifically these words, but in general, here's a link to Accenture's site, internal microsite about our performance achievement process.
Sure.
Here is the PowerPoint presentation that they sent us with all of the information about like how the system is going to work this year and all this kind of stuff. Then what I did was I took one person and I wrote out, completely unaided by AI, I wrote out a performance summary on them. And then I fed that to this agent and I said, here's what good looks like. This is my style. This is the way I want to do things. I want to make it sound like this. And then I said, okay, what I want you to do is when I start a new chat with you, ask me who's the person, what self-input do they have, prompt me for what I see as their strengths, their areas for improvement, and then go and draft. And it would come up with a really good draft, and then I would go back and say, little more positive on this part, little less positive on this part. I forgot add about this. We would go back and forth like 3 or 4 times, and then it would come with something that I could just copy and paste. And I loved that. It basically took what probably would have been 2 hours worth of work and condensed it down to 30 minutes for me. But the thing that I loved was I was really taking the attitude of it being a teammate as opposed to a subordinate. Like
Sure.
We were working back and forth, right? It was a collaborative process with me viewing this agent as a teammate, and that worked out really, really well. So,
And all of Bob's performance reviews are in the language of Dr. Seuss, right? So you're standout.
you know what? I should have added that.
You
That
should
would
have,
been
or
really
a
good.
Shakespearean sonnet. Or,
Yeah, or in music. That would be really good. So that was one. I'll talk less about the other one, but I think it's really handy. Is with ChatGPT, I struggled with my sleeping for like 20 years. And I had a couple of years ago gone through the whole CBT for insomnia deal, working with the doctor. And it was helping for a while, but then I kind of fell back into some of the old habits. But I was thinking while I was on vacation, I really probably should get this back under control. But I didn't really feel like going back to a doctor having to deal with a person. And I found, somebody who had written an agent in ChatGPT to be a CBTI coach. And then I went in and I tailored it a little bit so it worked better for me. And I've been engaging with this thing every day, and it's been really good. And I'm noticing that, like what it's telling me is very connected to what the doctor had told me in the past. So I feel like, it's not hallucinating. It's actually getting me really good content and doing it really effectively. And so I'm very happy with that.
is it giving you links with the sources and
Yeah,
things that
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
follow?
yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And I will check and follow up and all that kind of stuff. So
Right? So, Bob, your hypothesis is because these general purpose models are so good, we're going to find more and more people building the unique things that they need to support their workflow, whether they're an L&D professional or not, simply in these types of like more general purpose tools than worrying about every single SaaS tool that we use, um,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Bringing that capability forward.
yeah.
It's an
Or to
interesting
be really
hypothesis.
bold and really kind of scary for us as learning professionals is, I'm sitting here thinking, as we're working really hard of how do we teach and enable people to use generative AI more in their own work
Hmm.
and designing programs and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of like, maybe they should just ask the AI, hey, how can I be better at using you?
Yeah.
Because that's like the mindset shift that once you get your arms around that, it's a little bit crazy of like, hey, help me use you better works.
Right, right.
And
Well, I
especially
think
with, yeah,
you're starting to see a little bit of that, right? Well, not a little bit of that. You're seeing a lot of that, I would say, where people have really started gravitating towards, here's what I want to do. Here's my prompt. Make my
mm-hmm,
prompt better, and then I will ask you to do this, right? So just a little bit of the almost like letting the model coach you to be able to get the best you can get out of the model,
yeah,
sort of an approach.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, I'll shut up for a
Bob,
while.
you might be right. I mean, I'll tell you, like I play with all kinds of different tools and models and so forth on a regular basis. My husband keeps telling me that AI is not a hobby, and I challenge him on that one because I think it might be. Um, but even when some of the tools that I just go back to, like they are simply custom GPTs that I
Right.
have built in Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Dana, you might like to know that we actually have a custom GPT out in the public library of ChatGPT for durable learning. It's actually called, I think it's called like Instructional Design Coach Dash Durable Learning. And again, it's in the public environment, so anybody who just wants to go search for it can find it. But, it is essentially an instructional design tool that was fed our Accenture durable learning model, of which you
Hmm.
were like the master architect
Hmm.
to basically help people come up with instructionally sound like design products from the very beginning, going from how might I go from just like a concept to a high level design to a detailed design, all the way down to like instructional materials, faculty guides, all of the above. Again, just using right this general purpose model with a few little supplements that have turned it into a custom GPT.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, one of the last things I did before I retired was to turn over all my documentation of that
Yeah,
project. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and some of it was I had to dig pretty hard to find it, but it was still good stuff.
Sure,
So,
sure, sure.
well, I'll chime in briefly, and I'm saying briefly because I'm not spending a lot of time on the computer these days. I'm spending more time outside hiking and biking and doing all those fun things. Um, but I do use Copilot when I'm doing some creative work, and it's largely to kind of inspire the way that I want to go. Like sometimes I'll have an idea of something I want to write about, and I won't quite have either the confidence or the framework, and so I'll feed it into Copilot and give it some ideas, and it
Great.
spits back some other ideas. I go, yep, okay, I have direction, I have inspiration. Now I can
Hmm.
set it aside and do that creative thinking. Um, but so I'm taking notes on things that I need to pay more attention to.
Dana, with
One
all of
thing
these
that's
grandchildren though coming up,
yeah,
right? You
Yeah.
yeah.
definitely want like go take a look at like Chat GPT for education. Go take a look at Claude has its own, right? Like Anthropic has its own education model out there, right? A lot of great thought leadership established by, Sal Khan and what he did with Conmigo and so forth. Really bridging that space of how do we use these tools not to just give you answers and let you cheat on
Hmm.
homework, but like really
Yeah.
truly as Socratic teachers, right? So just so much promise in this space, regardless of whether we're talking about, elementary schools, college, like, workforce learning, all of the above.
Yeah. The one thing that has been interesting to me lately, and I haven't heard a lot about it, but NVIDIA released a paper on small language, smaller language learning models, and saying that those actually might be the future rather than the large language learning models, because they highly specialize in a particular domain.
Yeah.
And because of that, they can be more accurate, they can be more faster than it already is. So I'm interested in following that. I'm also interested in following the research that they've been doing on the neurological impact
Mm-hmm.
of of AI, and how in many cases they're finding, at least early research is finding, that it can actually dumb you down because you're not
Yeah.
using things that provide the Socratic approach or things that cause you to think deeply. So,
I heard a word, we've always heard of the concept of time under tension for strength building, right? So it's why you
uh-huh.
see like a lot of
Yep.
people going into physical strength training for like low repetitions, but lots of repetitions, etc. I heard that concept discussed earlier this week in terms of cognitive time under
Yeah.
tension, right?
Yeah.
Which is really getting back to Dana, I think where you're going in terms of, you know, that hard process of learning is so critical for actually forming those pathways and so forth.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah, for
generative and
sure.
the effortful parts of
Yes,
durable learning.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. To bring it back to durable learning. Hey, can I just do a quick PSA on that though? Because um, Dana, I'm not talking about like what you were just mentioning here, but
Yeah.
we are about a week out from, again, when we're recording this, we're about a week out from this study that, MIT published about how 95% of all generative AI, pilots are not like adding value and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
And, I'm not here disputing their data. I'm not here disputing their approach. I am here disputing their headlines though. And
Yeah.
my ask is, there's going to be more and more and more of these quote unquote studies that come out with headlines that
Dramatic.
might just be a little bit
Yeah.
misleading.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel like we have even more of a responsibility than ever to ask the questions about what was the methodology? What are you really looking at here? What is the comparative basis, right? That MIT study said 95% of generative AI pilots do not turn a meaningful, ROI back to the P&L within 6 months. And anybody who has ever worked in the field of technology, it's like neither has anything, right?
Right.
Like
That's not
what
bad.
technology project do you put out into the wild and you can say it has a material impact on the P&L within 6 months, right? So, that's just one example, right? There's other examples out there where you're seeing these big headlines and even some good names like being put behind them. And then you dive into their methodology and they're like, we sampled 19 college students between X
Exactly.
and Y, and this is
Right.
what we're coming
Right.
with,
Right.
That was
right?
the first.
So,
That was one of the big
oh,
other MIT
Right.
MITs.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
definitely read the
yeah.
context, understand what it's about, and yeah, again, the headlines have been kind of newsworthy, which is odd for an
Yeah.
Kind of
academic
clickbaity.
paper.
Clickbait. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
very odd for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
strong conclusions, which is completely opposite of what you typically get from an
Right.
academic that writes these, which they're always against even making any type of conclusion
Right.
usually.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
kind of pivoting to more of the learning side, that I would say that's how I'm actually using generative AI the most is from that. And so my current example as of today is I'm trying to become a better change storytelling and influencer. So as much as I can. So a lot of the work that I do is always around some type of transformation. Think about the future of development in an organization, people development, not just your classic learning development, what we normally think of.
Right.
It's how do we reimagining work and learning together. So it's a lot of change storytelling and making people who have a very strong view of what education and learning development is to rethink what that actually can be in today as well as tomorrow. So I'm using GPT. I have one that's, I have, well, it's more of a project file, I would call, rather than like they've kind of merged from now specifically even with GPT-5, you can do an agents or you can create just project files that are essentially an agent that you can have multiple conversations underneath and store files and store specific prompts and things that you always
Hmm.
want to have it trained in. So I have a folder that I have all that in. I uploaded a framework, a specific framework that we use all the time for work. I use it for that. I trained it in that. I trained it in pretty much everything it knows about me, what I do. And then I also use it a lot. Like anytime I have random thoughts, I put it in to then just so it's very unstructured thoughts, but it at least has my thinking in it. And so one of the things similar to you, Bob, I always instruct everything I work in to immediately say, I want you to be a thought partner, not a teller. I want you to
Oh, I
actually
like
work
that.
work
Yeah.
with me not
I
tell
like
me.
that.
And I want you to validate my thinking after every time I say something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, this is something I would very much do when I'm working with another individual as well. Okay, play that back for me. Okay, well, I want it to play it back for me as well to make sure it's right. But I will always, when it gives me a suggestion, I would say, okay, thanks. I'm going to go walk away. I don't need to say this because I'm actually probably burning a whole bunch of,
Yep. Yep.
feel on this. But anyway, this again, I talk to it just like I normally would with any human. But I usually walk away and I do it on my own. Sometimes I'll take it on my own, and then I'll kind of like, okay, now compare and contrast. Give me feedback into mine. And now we kind of go back and forth. And then there's just times where, rather than doing all that process, what I'll do is, like I said, I just throw in all of my unstructured thinking, and then I'll help it clean up that mess for me a bit. And then I'll kind of always ask, like, tell me why you did this and why you think that and so forth. So again, I'm coming very, very intentionally when I do this to always think that I can't remove and offload all of my cognitive thinking on it. And so I'm just, again, very deliberate about that process. So, well, I don't know, Bob, what did you use the metacognition term? I feel that is one of those skills. Yeah, those are one of those skills, and actually is the topic of our South by Southwest proposal. But I do think that is an important process whenever you're interact. So that's my one big one, and then lastly, I am dabbling into multi-agent autonomous work, and I got a long way to go because there's a lot of technical stuff that's involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anybody who's out there saying this agentic stuff is simple, I feel like hasn't actually jumped into the truly agentic stuff, right? Yeah,
most
it's
of the
powerful.
Stuff and when we talk about agents today, again, as of the time of this recording, who knows what it'll be 6 months later.
Right.
When you say agents today, most of us are talking about custom GPTs just because we've labeled it or custom whatever. It's like we've created that type. It's not a overly autonomous agent that you would probably hear from a technical person.
Goal seeking that can work together, right? All of the above. Yeah, for sure.
That's one of the problems we have with this is like everybody's using the same words and not quite meaning what the other people are hearing. So
yes, agreed.
Princess Bride reference insert here.
I do not think that word means what you think it means. It feels like we're just getting started and we're actually out of time. I'm kind of heartbroken. Any last thoughts though, Allison? Any other questions you want to shoot our way or?
Yeah, let's go to one more question. We'll go a little extended. That's okay.
Will we? Okay, let's do it.
We'll do this.
It's Labor Day. We can.
Yeah,
I got time.
Go.
Well, let's do a quick round. Like the answer can't be AI, right? So it can't be agentic structures. It can't be tools. Let's do a quick round robin of what are you learning about these days? You like how I just made that question a question for all of you guys? So there you go.
Yeah.
Jake, you get to go first.
Well, I just kind of gave mine away.
Yeah, but you can't. I said that category doesn't apply.
I know. Okay. Another one that I think I'm going to learn, which I haven't, but I have on my list, is because of the multi-agent piece. I think I need to get more into, I would say I'm trying to get into certain apps that are able to create some of this. So it's going to require me to have to know more about Python. It's going to have to require me to know about other types of languages, at least at a most basic level. So that way, when I do quote unquote vibe code or whatever, I know what the heck it's actually coming back, at least at a decent level. So that would be mine.
Okay, so even when I said, and it can't be AI,
it's not
still
necessarily
went a little...
AI.
All right,
it's caused by, it's like something that is making me eventually lead to AI, but it would be separate.
Are you vibe coding anything fun right now, Jake?
I'm not right now, no.
You're not?
One of my colleagues is for sure when it comes to multi-agent stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Dana, over to you. What are you learning about these days? You're going to make us all jealous with these amazing,
No, I'm focusing on health and nutrition and exercise and longevity. So I can figure out how to be able to enjoy my grandkids longer.
Excellent.
So
excellent.
That's
very
the
nice.
main thing I'm focusing on, which is fun.
Love it.
I'm learning lots of interesting things I wish I would have known 10, 15 years ago.
Sure. Yeah.
But better late than never.
Sure. Bob, over to you.
I have been reflecting a lot lately on my last 36 years of professional learningdom and what I've learned and what my superpowers are and what I've learned from all of you and all that kind of stuff and putting it together into some ideas. And I think it's going to wind up being a book. So that
Very
is
cool.
what I'm excited about. And hopefully by the end of this season of Learning Geeks, Jake and Dana will let me do an episode. I'll present the premise of it, and then we'll see if anybody would buy
Only
that
if you
book.
send us a book.
I will.
Right,
I'll
so-
even sign it for you, Jake.
So, Bob, you are learning about your own learning
Yeah.
experiences such that that can be translated to support the learning of other people that may find themselves in some way, shape, or form coming
That's
into
right.
this amazing field.
That's
So
right.
is that the
Good.
metacognitization?
It's
There's a little bit of
meta-something.
metacognitizing in there.
Which sounds like a word AI would invent.
Well, it is interesting because I do notice that like things that I was really focused on and brought to the table like 20 years ago, that then we just kind of like, they just kind of got woven into the
Yeah.
fabric, have kind of died down a little bit, and I've kind of dismissed them because I was like, that's old, but like they're rearing their head again.
Bring him, come back.
Yeah.
Like the phenomenal learning model, gang, it's coming back. Bring phenomenality back.
Yeah.
Like that's just one aspect of it. But anyway,
Yeah,
that
you
was a
did.
little
You know
inside
what?
baseball.
Yeah,
Way
go
back
ahead.
when, right? That whole phenomenal learning model. And for those who don't know what that was, who maybe weren't at Accenture with us forever ago, right? Like this was really just a massive uplift about how do you make every single learning experience like exceptional, right? Like
Yeah.
truly exceptional,
Yes.
right? And there was a model and such went behind it. I would argue that the 2025 version on that is like really understanding learning experience, right? So like
100%.
understanding like the instructional components of it is one really important component of it, but how do you uplift and think in terms of that end-to-end experience? So yeah, it makes sense to me that you're seeing that come back, Bob.
Maybe it's how do you make learning experiences that are enchanting?
Ooh, nice. Well
Oh,
done with the
and with
Taylor
that,
Swift at the end. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Guys,
Oh.
totally enchanted to meet you, enchanted to be here. May you all have a wonderful rest of your August. I hope it wasn't a cruel summer for you,
oh my
but
gosh,
Man,
keep it
that is
yeah, I
coming.
mean,
well
we could do
done.
this all day.
Well done.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, everybody, Allison, it's always great to talk to you. We'll have to have you on much more frequently than we have.
Yeah, let's not wait as long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
So,
All right.
and best
Thanks
of
all.
luck. I know you'll stay in touch, but I really hope that your new career at JPMC is everything that you want it to be. And we will miss you, but we're still glad that you are part of our lives. So,
Oh, absolutely. Thank you guys.
schmaltz,
Appreciate it. Great to
schmaltz,
see you all.
cheese. Yeah,
Great to
Good to
see
see
you.
you.
It's fun.
thank
Talk to
you.
you
Thanks,
soon.
Jake,
Bye.
Dana. Thanks for our listeners. You know the drill.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you later.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye bye.